because I also did forget I took the wrong laptop charger. So this podcast could be I'm looking at the battery. All right.
Ever the professional.
No doubt. Yeah,
here.
not pretty. But what was pretty was Texas's offense last night. Their offense, like, imagine. I actually said that to Beard after the game. I said it was like basically going to get a root canal last year watching Texas's offense. Last night, it was pretty. The motion was, well, listen, everything looks better when you're making shots, no matter what you're running. It could be the tight flex. It could be the motion, whatever it is, right? And last night, Tyrese Hunter was making shots. And he didn't do a lot of that at Iowa State last year. He was awesome. And it made, to me, Marcus Carr look good. And they've got other weapons. And Gonzaga, frankly, did not look good at all last night. Mark, you could see it in his face. And, I was talking to him after the game a little bit. He's like, we got a lot of work to do. They do.
That's fair to say. Yeah.
My biggest impression early on is always not to overreact too much. Okay. Like, I like this Texas team. I like last year's, and that was kind of unfounded. That was more based on Chris Beard than anything else. This year, the difference for me is it's not a new coach in a new program. Now he's kind of got his culture established, right? Last year, he inherited a bunch of guys that weren't his, right? Andrew Jones, Courtney Ramey, guys that really weren't his, that had been used to losing. And I felt like he accomplished about as much as he could last year with a group that he had.
They lost to Purdue in the second round? Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Dylan Mitchell is a stud who knows exactly what he is, Rob. Like, he doesn't complain at all. They love him here, and he's potentially a first-round pick. Probably a first-round pick, to be honest.
I'd say he would have had the dunk of the night, but the Brazil kid from Arkansas took that.
Holy shit. That dunk was insane.
Yeah, but Dylan Mitchell was nice too. I mean, that tip back that he had.
He can go get it. He can go get it, and he's different. He fits in, number one, because he's different and super athletic. Number two, because he's probably the highest rated pro prospect they have, and he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't complain. He doesn't try to make shots that he can't. He's not shooting from 18 feet to prove to the NBA guys, and there were a ton of NBA guys in the arena last night. And we'll get to the arena, which was awesome. The Moody Center, brand new last night. What were your impressions of Texas?
I think, aside from the shot making, and I agree with you, I love Tyrese Proctor's Hunter's game. Just from seeing him in the NCAA tournament last year here in Chicago.
Yeah.
And he was a playmaker and he was a big time defender. But if he's going to shoot like that, and Fran Fraschilla was talking about on the broadcast about all the work he's put in, he's going to shoot to that caliber, who knows? But the depth of Texas is what stood out. Daisu coming in and looking healthy this year and giving the spark that he does. Sir Jabari Rice, I mean, just a winning player. There's a lot of guys that came in and gave good minutes, whether they were freshmen, whether they were returners, whether they were transfers.
Yep.
They love Rice. Brock Cunningham came in and played great.
The pieces now fit as long. And again, my thing is always like, was that a career night for Tyrese Hunter?
It could be. I mean, that was, what was he? 5 of 8 from 3, 9 of 14 from the field.
Yeah.
That could be. He shot 27% from 3 last year, and coming into tonight, he was shooting 18.
Right.
Now you could say, well, small sample size. He's 1 for 7 in his first 2 games. Yeah. But I don't know if he is the knockdown shooter that's going to be able to make 5 threes in a game. It was funny to watch at one point when he was truly on fire. And Marcus Carr, I saw him in Minnesota. He get close to triple doubles. Right. He's a good player. He's really talented. Yeah. I just worry that at times now I
know where you're going with this. I know where you're going.
7 assists.
Yes.
His thirst to score at times when you're like, dude, you've got a dude.
At the dumbest times.
I know. He took a shot and T.O. tweeted about it. It was spot on because you've got a guy that's literally in the zone. And when that's the case, you've just got to be like, all right, just give it up.
You got to have feel. You got to have feel as a point guard.
But he has a thirst to score. And it's crazy to say that because he does have 7 assists.
1 turnover.
Christian Think about Christian Bishop just coming off the bench and being one of your backup bigs. I mean, he's a good player. Was a good.
But that's kind of what because Dylan Disu was pretty good. Now again, defensively, listen, Drew Timmy's gonna abuse everybody in the country. Like nobody anymore. I don't think anybody can stop Drew Timmy these days. 1-on-1, anybody. How much length is there? Obviously Drew Timmy. That's his probably biggest issue is scoring over major length and athleticism.
Who do you like better, Tolu Smith or Drew Timmy?
That was that was T.O.'s comparison. One we'll never forget. We will never let die.
We will
never let die. I think T.O. finally has a newfound respect of Drew Timmy for watching.
After watching him in person, he got.
And he didn't have his best game.
But they're not giving him any help.
We'll get to Gonzaga. Yeah, let's get to Gonzaga in a minute. Let's get to Gonzaga. But Texas, are they second weekend contenders? Are they Final Four contenders?
No,
and what do you need to see from them?
I think they're definitely a team that you could chalk into Final Four contenders.
Yeah.
They have multiple primary ball handlers.
Right.
The shooting they make 13 threes. Right. We'll see how that continues on. That's not going to be what they average. Right. But I do think with all the playmakers, with some of the youth, with some of the experience, with their depth, with the way they're going to guard you. I mean, Chris Beard's teams have always been terrifying because you're like, they are going to guard their asses off.
Yeah.
And they're going to make it really hard for us to score. But now they have guys who can get into the paint. They've got some guys that I think are going to shoot it pretty well from three. They've got role players. They've got a little bit of everything. And they're going to get seasoned in the Big 12, going up against the Baylors and the Kansases. They will be battle tested. If they stay healthy,
win the Big 12? Can they win the Big 12?
Yeah. I think I haven't seen a ton of Baylor yet. I know they're talented as well. From watching Kansas as the champions, I like Kansas' team. But I don't think Kansas it's not one of those years where you look at the Jayhawks and you're like, oh my God, this is overwhelming talent. They're good. And the way they grinded that out at the Champions Classic 2 nights ago was impressive. But yeah, they can win the Big 12. I
mean, listen, when Kansas has a couple guys who can really, really score that right? Jalen Wilson can really score. And I think Grady Dick will be a guy who can score. He's not there yet, but you saw it in the spurt. Texas has, again, I think the biggest thing is like, all right, Marcus Carr's got a year with Beard. Timmy Allen's got a year with Beard.
And Timmy Allen didn't play well last night. He was the one.
Timmy Allen did nothing. And they scored, 93 points?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good night. If Timmy Allen can give you 2 and you're going to score at that level. What I will say is defensively, I'm not sure any of those Big 12 teams are as bad as Gonzaga was last night defensively.
That's true.
That's my worry with Gonzaga. And we can get to the Zags right now. That's my biggest concern. Not can they score. Like, they're going to be able to score. Nolan Hickman's not Andrew Nembhard. We know that. Chet, what he did defensively.
At the rim. I think those two guys being gone was so apparent last night.
Yeah.
Nembhard handling pressure, playing pick and roll, setting his. I felt like Drew Timmy, outside of back to the basket stuff, and every time he got a foot in the paint, it was 3 Texas defenders were swarming him.
Yeah.
Where was the short roll? Last year it was pick and roll, short roll, Timmy takes a dribble, floater, spray.
Yep.
I can't remember that happening one time, but you need a point guard who can handle the pressure and make the pass.
Right.
And I think Nolan Hickman is going to be a good player, but I don't think he's there yet. Now he sprained his ankle. So it's like, boy, the point guard play, I think we appreciate Andrew Nembhard so much more for people that didn't see them a lot last year after watching that. And then the protection of the rim with Chet Holmgren, there was none. And that they don't have anybody that can protect the rim.
And then,
that covered up a lot of miscues guard-wise defending the basketball.
And Nembhard made it so much easier for Strother and Bolton also, right? I mean, he knew where to get them looks, right? I feel like Hickman doesn't understand that yet. He's worried probably more about himself. And he made a couple threes early. And then, like you said, he got hurt late. How about Mark Few's quote to me after the game? I said, what do you think of Texas? He's like, they don't have any weaknesses. Now, again, last night it
could be shooting. It could end up being
exactly. Like, that's the hardest in a one-off, and they played at such a high level. in a game in which it was the only game of the night that really got a ton of interest. We'll talk my Iowa Hawkeyes really after, because they blasted Seton Hall.
Why are they your Iowa Hawkeyes?
So I've now
picked
them.
You championed them. Yeah, okay.
I did. I picked them to win the Big Ten.
Yep.
I mean, and everybody laughed at me.
No, I didn't laugh.
Fun of me.
I didn't laugh at you.
All right, Doster made fun of me for that. And
I saw Doster was shooting on the court, just freaking disrespecting the Moody Center.
He outshot Terrence Oglesby.
What? Really?
Did outshot him.
What was the score?
No, it wasn't that long. They were both just jacking shots.
Oh,
I happened to post a clip where Doster made one and T.O. didn't.
I mean, that would have been shocking because I've played against Terrence since we were in high school, and he could really shoot.
He can shoot it. He can shoot it. So the Zags, are you now worried? Like, part of me, when Tommy Lloyd left for Arizona, part of me was like, oh boy, like this thing could fall off a little bit. I'm not saying it's ever going to go to a point where like Gonzaga is not going to be running the WCC, but what Gonzaga had done over the last few years was get to a point where they're consistently in the conversation as the preseason #1 team, as a national title contender, and having a top, lottery pick, right? Having NBA guys. Like Drew Timme obviously is still there for a reason, because if he was good enough, to be a first rounder, he would have been gone by now. Same thing with Julian Strawther. He was probably a second rounder last year. They don't have that dude.
They still have a lot of talent. They still have a lot of talent, though.
Yeah, overall talent.
Yes. When you look at like recruiting stuff, I mean, Malachi Smith is one of the best transfers of the summer. It's not like they haven't been getting good players.
But there's no Chet Holmgren. There's no Jalen Suggs. Like those guys were
like the elite.
Yes, and I don't even know if Tommy Lloyd got them both. I know he got them. Yeah,
I don't know how much his recruiting was Tommy Lloyd versus Mark Few. So I guess that's hard to say. Right. But this could also be a total overreaction. It's just a cyclical. Okay. Yeah. This could be an overreaction. They could be really good. I mean,
that's always the issue early in the season.
They didn't play great on the aircraft carrier, but those conditions are pretty hard to play in, I think.
Right. I think they're a step down. I think they are a step down from what they've been because they don't have that game-changing guy next to Drew Timme. Is that fair?
I don't think I'm ready to say that, because from watching the Champions Classic, I didn't think those teams played all that well either, and they could be really good.
Well, that's yes, that's
but they have high end, I guess, higher level recruits that are freshmen that are playing. But I didn't watch the Champions Classic and think, wow, these teams are so much further ahead than Gonzaga. Texas was last night. I don't know if Texas is going to be like that for the entire year. I just think it's too early to say.
And you know what Texas had that Gonzaga didn't? They had even older dudes. Like Drew Timme's been around. Well, Marcus Carr's really, really been around, right?
His fifth year?
Yeah.
Fifth year for Marcus Carr?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of those guys, Timmy Allen, 5th year. Like, those guys are men. Like, Nolan Hickman's not.
Okay, but like the difference between Drew Timme 4th year and
I'm not saying Drew Timme. I'm not counting him.
But like Hickman, Salas,
right.
Rusher Bolton is old.
Right.
He's been around a long time.
Strawther's played enough. I'm just saying like Texas has some guys that are like really old.
They've got a great mix of old.
They're going to challenge you.
They've got a great mixture of youth, veterans, transfers.
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
They've all bought into the way that Beard wants to play.
And that's part of it. And on top of
that, they've got great momentum with that arena now. That place looked awesome on TV last night. It
was really nice. It holds about 10,000. So here's the deal with the Moody Center. And I don't know how it comes across on TV, but the upper level is full of like suites for the most part. And it's built for concerts. And they have this huge screen that goes across, and they have the ability to do whatever they want with it. Beard said they're like tinkering. They're trying to figure out almost how to use it right now. But it was not intended. They don't want it to be a 16,000 seat arena. They had that with the Irwin Center, and it wasn't good, frankly. They want it to be a 10,000 seat arena, and that's the lower bowl. And what Beard did, and obviously he needed help from the administration. The students fill like 72% of the lower bowl. Like like the good seats, whatever.
And
those
in football, that would not roll. But because of the way that
right.
basketball is there, they're probably like, all right, fine. And it's better.
Yeah.
Better for the atmosphere.
It was really good. It got loud in there. It's obviously not at the level yet that he had Texas Tech at in terms of those fans, but he thinks he can get it there. He really does. He thinks he can get it to where there is rabid. There's still, Texas football fans first. I'm not sure that'll ever change. They're probably high school football fans second. But
that's so true.
But they'll listen. It was a home court advantage last night for probably one of the first times since I was there when Avery Bradley had it rolling and Damian James had it rolling.
I mean, think about even like the Durant years. They would fill the Irwin Center,
right,
or close to fill it, but it was never an atmosphere where you were like, whoa, like when you go to a Purdue or Indiana or Kansas or Duke.
Yep.
I'd been there for I did an NIT game there, and it was one of the worst atmospheres. Not that the NIT brings out the best in high major crowds, but it was like, whoa, it was really bad. And even regular season games. It's a definite upgrade. And people were kind of clowning it for you can't even sell it out. I don't think the thing is what it is.
They didn't try to sell it out. They'll never sell those tickets. That's where Matthew McConaughey's sitting up top drinking
the
wine.
Minister of Culture.
The Minister of Culture.
Night?
He wasn't there. Yeah. He's probably filming a movie.
First big game at his Moody Center. He didn't even show up.
He did not show up. Obviously, football takes precedence there.